Hello, everybody, to the next Backend stream this Friday. And yeah,
I guess.
what's the topic for today? Last iOS stream, we saw that we have a small issue with the dates because some movies don't have a release date. So we will fix that today. And yeah, and after that, I think we will add new endpoints to our backend
Yeah.
because as Jonas said in the last stream, we will do a UI. We would work on the UI and add more features. And for this one, we need new endpoints like famous actors, famous movies, and stuff like that. So we will continue with that today. And yeah, with that being said, let's dive into the code.
Okay. Good. Then first let's have a look at the problem that you just described.
Yeah.
So maybe you can tell us a bit about the date issue.
Yeah, basically the field with the release date, we encountered one that the API returns an empty string and not null.
Okay.
And our date parser has a problem with that. So
Okay.
so it would be cool if it's nullable. So
Yeah.
if we don't have a release date, then we don't send it or set it to null. And then yeah, at the moment we have a workaround in the front end, but then we can remove that one.
Yeah. So let's first crash the application.
Perfect start.
Off to a good start. What went wrong? Why?
Bad request.
Search movies? Why did we get a bad request? That's not nice. I have to be honest, that was unexpected.
Yeah, that's the best.
Let's let's start with a clean. Also, as you probably know, it's about 4 weeks since our last stream.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hoped it would still work.
Let's see.
Aha. Okay. So, yeah. Release date. We have it here. And now let's search for one where
we had it. We searched for Marvel, and I don't know which page, 2 or 3 maybe.
Okay.
There should be one.
Let's try page 2. Oh, something is going on.
Oh.
Now I see. Did you do your implementation with my backend?
Yeah. We added in the last iOS stream, we added infinite scrolling, and it worked.
Huh.
And Jonas took the latest dev.
So it complains here.
But we had before the stream we had a problem with the database. When maybe Jonas is in the chat and he can answer this one. We had the first startup, we had a similar problem, and then he cleaned everything and Docker and stuff. So fresh start, and then it worked.
I don't think it's that. Actually,
we had an issue starting at page 100. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
We can check that as well.
That's also good to know. So let's try this code again. Okay, it still fails. And what we can see is we have a client web application exception. So this 400 is actually, so we give a 500 because we don't handle this error. The 400 that we get is actually from our client parsing the MovieDB API. And somewhere in here, there's the missing Kotlin parameter exception. and it tried to create the movies DB search result item DTO, and it failed to parse the release date because it was missing.
Okay, the same issue but we were able to do the
let's have a
call
look
last
at
time.
what the API gives us. So this should also search for marble, page 2. Let's check the release date. So we have one. No, this was the next one.
There is.
Okay, that is one with an empty string, but an empty string should not be a null problem. I would expect. Okay. Did we add some Jackson config? Object mapper. No, we have no object mapper customizer. So it could be that Jackson is by default configured to
So at the moment you have the development branch, right?
Yeah.
Without changes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why I'm wondering, maybe I didn't push something, but still strange. You had the page.
Yeah. In the IO stream, it worked. So maybe you pushed something else till that time? Or maybe you have not the remote.
Jackson.
What you could check is the remote branch and your local branch, if there are any differences.
Yeah, the problem is I made sure I pushed just before the stream.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So anyways, the problem is probably that Jackson is interpreting this empty string as a null.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure this is a config. Yes. Google knows that it exists. Jackson will give you null. No. Not the right thing. So there's probably a config feature for this. However, we would like it to be null.
Yep.
But the problem is that our model at the moment says it must not be null. Search result item DTO. So we say here this is always expected. So if we just say this is not always expected, then the code will not compile anymore, I expect. So we have to find all the release dates and make them also optional. So there's I'm very sure there's an option to disable this Jackson behavior. It's probably just a default that it maps it to null at the moment, which is kind of strange because you might want to have an empty string as a valid value in some cases. But I actually didn't know that this is the default. So let's try again. Now it works. No crash.
Okay, but interesting then the question would be, why did it work for us last time? Maybe did you do an update of one of the components maybe?
Maybe I updated Quarkus. I'm not sure. Yeah, I could imagine that I did a Quarkus update.
Okay. That's strange.
That's really strange. I have to look. What? So there is a null, a real null in there. We didn't find it because I searched for the release date.
Yeah.
That's why. So we searched for the release date, and we only found the ones where they have a release date. But actually there's a movie that just does not have the field. No, it has it. And it's, what? I'm very confused now. No, this one is okay. Who had a null? Release date here. So you are the bad one. Yes, and you just don't have a release date. So I take everything back. So it's actually the case that we have a movie now. Probably it just wasn't the case last week.
Yeah, maybe.
Or yeah, last week when you streamed? Or 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago.
And that's why it's now not working anymore, because there was no movie that had no release
Yeah.
date. So now they have both. They have empty string as a release date, and they have null.
So maybe we then could say, okay, an empty string is a valid date, so we remove it in the middleware.
Yeah, I would also say it should just always be null.
Yeah.
Their API is not so nice. We will make it nicer for you guys. Yeah. Okay. So that resolves some confusion.
Yeah, okay.
I was really getting worried. Okay. So now it can work with the null. Now. So one thing I would also like to change is at the moment we just pass on the string. So, but this might be an invalid date if they mess up more.
Could be, yeah.
I mean,
exactly.
It's a string. It should be a date. So let's go for making this a date and see what happens then.
Okay.
So if you have seen, this is a...
Yeah, that would be better if we do an actual date.
Yeah, then we have it checked, and
then you
can be sure.
You can check if you can transform the string into a date.
Yeah.
If it works, then you put it in. Otherwise, you remove it or null it.
Also, we then have a standardized API towards the client. And if we, for example, connect to another backend service where we get maybe the date in a different format, for example, with time, we could make sure that you always get the date in the same time, same way. So they only have a day here. I mean, it's the release date, so it makes sense.
Yeah, and like Jonas just mentioned in the chat, and we can have one unique date format for the client.
Yeah, and the backend has to make sure
that it is in the right format.
Yeah. So what we can do here, we are here in the DTO for the MovieDB API, and actually we don't have to pass this by hand. We just say this is a local date.
Okay.
And local date is the Java time class for something like this.
It's the ISO
year
8601.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
So year, month, and day. So that's perfect for us, and we will just use this everywhere where we have to pass it on. Local. And of course, still we have it as optional because we know there are some movies without a release date. Looks good. So let's try to recompile. No such method. Yeah. So this was just too much for the hot code replacement, changing a lot of data types around the whole thing.
And Jonas also mentions if we could have the format with the time for the client.
Sure.
But yeah, because we had some passing issues without time. But if it's a valid ISO format, it should work.
But
on our side. But yeah, but maybe we should add also the time.
We can do that.
So the full format.
I might have to Google for that, but we can do it. So we have the release date now. And this here, the result of our API is actually really standardized now.
Okay.
So this will always be the ISO something. So if we go through here and we find here's a null and another null. So this one, if you remember,
is the empty string.
I think it was the empty string, yeah. So
Yeah,
release
right.
date empty string. So now Jackson says, okay, an empty string is probably it's meant as a date. It's not valid, so go with the null.
So basically, if there is a passing error on
Yeah. So
Jackson's side.
normally, if there's a passing error, when, for example, if you try to put an int into a string, then it will complain.
Yeah.
But I guess because this happens more often that you have an empty string instead of a date, they handle this special case.
Okay.
Which is quite nice for us because we don't have to care.
It's perfect.
That's perfect for us, and I guess they have experienced it a lot. So, yeah. No more empty strings, and also this should work for, this should be the one with the empty string. Release date is null.
Yep.
Why is the description empty? Wasn't it more? Here the description is not empty.
Interesting.
Why?
Did we add the description stuff to the call for the details?
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
but I wonder how we. So it's a great day. So here we have the search for the movies. Here we do. Wait, what happens with the search result? There it is, the description. Okay. And when we do get movie by ID, then it was not there. Let's debug. Yes, why, Wolfgang?
That's the question, yeah.
So that one is fine. Now let's start the movie. I need to name these better. Oh, a breakpoint. So movie response. Well, it's an actual response. Yeah. So let's have a look what the actual response looks like. Entity. There was a read entity. Was it like, yeah. Copy value. Or create some as yeah, to reformat it. So
description is
overview is empty.
Empty string, yeah.
What?
Okay, but then that's an API issue on the MovieDB side.
Yeah. Then it sure is. But
it's strange.
What? But if we do this is the same ID. Then we get the overview.
And that's now the...
I would also guess for layer 8, but that is looking strange now.
Okay. So this one is the MovieDB API, right?
This is the MovieDB API.
And there it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we have a bug somewhere. Or we don't pass it or something like that.
Yeah, but the strange thing is that this was the unparsed content of the response. Well, we can do one thing.
Yeah, do we actually pass it? So
that was before the parsing.
Yeah, right. But after the parsing?
Yeah, I mean, the data is not there before the parsing. So after the parsing, it won't come back.
Ah, okay.
So Let's start Quarkus in debug mode. Maybe we see something wrong.
Yeah, there's also the question if we should return the null values in the JSON or if we should remove the keys completely.
Let's actually adjust the setting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we could.
We can do that, yeah. It will appear after decoding. Yeah, it would be nice. Debug. Actually, it doesn't look like there's much for REST client in here. Yeah. I will have to check this offline. This is kind of strange. Maybe we send some headers. Maybe Quarkus sends some headers that they interpret or something. But it should not be like this. Okay. I mean, at least the release date is fixed.
We could also check the page 100 thing.
Yes. 1 second, I will just commit the current changes. Okay, page 100 you said. Well, there's only 9 pages.
Yeah, that's right, but we had a problem that we got an error with 100 or something like that. So, but now it works, okay.
Maybe it was the 9th page and there was a null.
That should be the last one, right?
Yeah. So let's have a look at this movie. No, it has a release date. Search movies.
So maybe just, yeah.
Maybe there's also a release date missing. And so maybe you encountered this null error.
Yeah. Maybe we got a different result last time as we saw right now.
So I think at the moment it works.
Yep.
Prove me wrong.
It was the empty result for page 99 and 100 failed.
Well, okay.
But now it works, so.
Page must be
okay,
less than or equal to 500.
Okay, then try 200.
Okay,
there's a maximum of 500.
Has a limit. That's okay. We could add this check. So search movies.
And now try that with the backend. So that call for
this wasn't even the backend, yeah. Yeah, of course, yeah. Yeah. So
we should check if it's less or equal than 500 or something like that.
So I guess you don't want an error in that case, just an empty result.
Correct.
Right. Yeah, okay. So
so our backend should accept it and return an empty result. So we have the right logic in the front end, and yeah.
So this is the DTO. Yeah, we get the DTO already. So what we need is the response, so we can react to the error. So one way would be to hard code the limit that they have, but actually it's more like if we get a 422, which I think means unprocessable or something. 422 unprocessable entity. Yeah, so then we can map this to just an empty response. So let's do that. Let's get the response here. then it's actually response to search results model. Yeah, response. Okay. No, this one we want to leave here. Here we will check it. Yeah.
Mhm.
So when we have the movies response status, and it's either status code is okay, then we want to read the entity. Read entity, and it was this, and then it was this here. Movies. Movies. And yes, this in here, and wait. Yeah, actually, we don't need a return because it's a when. We can do the return here, and inside the when, always the last statement is returned. Yeah, but if you do that, of course, every branch of the when needs to be covered. So we want to
Now the 422 unprocessable, or
yeah, so not there. This should be an int. Yeah, so 422. Then we simply create a result model. The page. We have no total pages. What would we put into the total pages and total results? What would you like?
a good question. So it's, do you know the max page here? So that you just return the last page, but you don't have it here. So
I mean, when I say total pages is 0, that's not good for you. I could say the total pages is the current page, but I also don't know the total results.
yeah. So you have ints, right?
Yeah.
-1 or something, so we can check for it, and
I can also make it optional.
Or optional, yeah.
If you like that.
Yeah, because there's no good data what you could return, so maybe nullable, or just or we use an error case in that.
But an error is also not so.
So then you could return the.
Why would you even query this page?
And normally it shouldn't happen.
So then an error would be okay, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So it basically it shouldn't happen. It's only when we do manipulate the calls while developing.
And an error would be okay then.
Yeah. Then we could say, okay, when we get an error, then we can handle it in the client.
So what we could do is actually go back here, revert this back. Let's have a look at the error that we get. Then we can do error mapping. So okay. So We get a client web application exception, unknown status code for the yeah. Yeah. Okay. Sorry for changing my mind so often.
So in the chat, there's the question: is the page really optional, or should this be initialized as a default to page 1?
It is, isn't it? Ah, here it is. Here, no, here, no. It is optional because this API allows us to send a no page parameter, and then we get the first page. And from there on, we know what they see as first page. Because otherwise we need to hard code if its first page is 0 or 1. You could argue for both. So let's go back to you. So if we get a 422, this is a special error for this API. And basically what we want to send you is a bad request, maybe. Yeah. Because you shouldn't do that.
That request shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
So it's a bad request. Yeah.
So we could send a bad request exception. Okay.
The question is if it's only when we exceed the page limit with the 422, or if we also get a 422 in other cases.
At the moment, I only know this one.
Yeah, right.
We could check the documentation. What a strange idea. Search. Where's the movies?
Search down.
Search movies. Responses. Yeah. So much for that. Yeah.
Okay, we assume that we only get a 422 when we exceed the page limit, and if we encounter another problem, then we have to look again.
Useful message when invoking? No. This one. Yeah, they have actually error objects, so we could pass this and forward you this error.
Okay.
So it might be that this is their standard error thing. So let's do this. We create a movies DB error detail. It's a data class. As always, we have errors in there. Well, errors. It's a list of string. It looks like it, at least. So that means in this case, or in basically any other case, we could do this. Apart from maybe 500s, you wouldn't want us. At the moment, let's just forward everything. Error. Response. So in this case, we just read a different model, and we throw a bad request exception in this case, and here we can specify a message or a response. Actually, so we are here in a very low level layer in our application. So throwing this exception here is not so nice because it's a REST exception, and maybe some other service wants to use our API or our code here. So we should throw some business exception. So
So basically we define now our own exceptions.
Yeah.
For our backend.
Yeah. So this is a runtime exception. Okay. Yes, and we also want a message probably. You should have a message, right? Yeah. So we can pass a message to this one, to the base class. And now here we can say we throw the movie API error exception. We take this
with the message we get from the DTO.
Yeah, we join it. Join with something, and we say and we say the template. Yeah. Okay. Now we throw this error. If we test this, we will see that we get a server error 500. Because this is just any exception now. Oh, I have to switch back to log level. To avoid spamming. And this is Quarkus doesn't know how to handle it. So something went wrong.
Yeah.
It's a server error. This is not our API. Yeah. So now we still have a client replication. So Quarkus is pretty smart. And when you use it like we did before with returning the model here directly, that's super easy. And it's in that case, it makes total sense that Quarkus says, okay, there's this node at 200, let's throw an error. But in our case, where we want to map it to something, the error to something more useful, it doesn't allow us because there's a filter in between that already throws the error. So we never even make it to here. But there's a flag to disable this. Now there's the question how. So
basically that's the standard processing at the moment.
Yeah.
And we want to deactivate that one.
Yeah, to be able to handle it manually. Unfortunately, you cannot do this on a call basis to say, yeah, when I want a response, then I want to have the full flexibility. And in the other case, go for it and do the automatic mapping. Yeah, unfortunately.
So you can only globally, in total or globally, can say you activate or deactivate the standard behavior.
Exception mapping. Okay. Oh, I need to search the client. Let's see, directive client. This client, then exception handling. So you can also define exception mappers for can you then assign this to, or is this global, which is the rest line, client exception mapper? Good. Cool. So there's some new stuff. Let's try this out. It seems, if I understand this correctly, that we can define an exception mapper here, where we can do this mapping.
Okay. So basically move the code we wrote in here.
Yes. Get this there. Yep. So when response from status, and now we want so if it's 200 to 299, then null. So null means no exception, otherwise do this. And I guess it's not throw, it's just return. Return. So we just return the exception. This has to be optional. In. Yeah. Add a different handling for. Yeah, we could add a different handling for the 500s, but you see how you would do it. But we can do it later, yes. So to exception we did this, and then it should be possible to go back to what we had before. This one. So, and here we use the thing we had before. Yes. Let's see how that works. It's interesting, never done that before. And someone complains. Would be the best feature if IntelliJ would just import the stuff that it can. Whenever it finds such an error, just do it. No. So there's a Kotlin specialty and probably some is it this? I read something about this somewhere in some release notes or so. And can't they just put in a nice example? Kotlin interface.
Well, you have to add some option.
Yeah. I think I have. No, I don't have such a thing here. Ah, this. There, I saw it maybe. Okay, let's try something. I will generate a new Quarkus project. Because I think I saw something in the Cradle files there. Maybe this.
Okay.
So it helps from time to time to just generate a project from scratch. No? That's this. I didn't. I always make this mistake. I didn't select Kotlin. So you see how many Quarkus projects I downloaded recently. Half of them was because I missed Kotlin. No. Now it's getting Kotlin, yes. This is really weird. I thought I saw it there. I was so sure. If you need Cradle. This is something I really hate, that you have to do stuff like that. Kind of, yeah. JVM target. It's Kotlin, Cradle, JVM default. Why am I searching for Cradle and then get nothing on the page?
Yeah, otherwise we can do it prepared for next stream or something if we can find a solution. Or maybe if there's someone in the chat who knows what to do. Otherwise we would do it off stream.
Yes.
And explain it in the next backend stream.
I know I have it in some project somewhere, but
yeah, but you can't search it on stream.
Yeah.
Or
okay.
I change the scene. If we want to check something.
Where were we? We
That's
wanted to do the
error
exception
thing.
mapping. Yeah. So we will do this another time. Or no, we can still go with the
old version.
The old version, yeah.
And maybe I can note it down to check the new version. How it is, what's the name of it?
We'll just note exception mapping. Okay. This one out here, and now I have to search the other problem. Quarkus rest line. Outros. S-client configuration group. Because we still have to disable this default
handling. Yeah.
There's something up here. Oh, okay. Classes will put that on me. Make it available. Provider.
So is it then basically something like a startup parameter or something, or what?
Yeah, it's a configuration for Quarkus.
Okay.
Extension. That's easy. Oh, come on. It's too bad.
Yeah, we have still about 10 minutes left.
So, oh man, this was not the expected outcome of this. Can you maybe switch the scene for a second? Okay. I will find it. I have to check another project.
So just tell me when I can switch back.
Yeah.
So chat, What are your plans for the weekend? Anything planned? No, we won't end it early because we said
No. I don't give up.
4:30 and we have 8 minutes to go, so we can do that one. So
Yeah.
yeah, no worries. So just put a little bit of pressure on Andres.
Okay, I think you can come back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I switch back. Okay.
So guys, what I did is add this config here to disable the default mapper for the REST client.
Okay.
And now let's hope this gets us our 500 finally. Okay, so it's not often that I'm happy about the 500. So we now have the movie API error exception, our own one. And page must be less than or equal to 500.
With the correct message. Yeah.
Even the correct message. Okay, so but we don't want the 500 because we didn't mess it up. They did mess it up, or you did mess it up, the client.
Yeah.
It's the best case. Okay, so in this case, we want to add an exception mapper. So with Quarkus, you can add exception mappers that you can use to map the exception to a response that you can send to the client. So we will add an exception mapper here. Basically, the name is doesn't matter. And then we add a server exception mapper. One map exception, and now it depends on the type. So exception. Okay. Movies DB error. No. Movie. How did I name it? Movie API. This one. And this has to return a response. Now we are free to build whatever we want. So, for example, we could define an error DTO that you always can pass. And maybe, use for something useful. At least we can give you a standardized way.
Yeah.
So arrow DTO data class, and for now let's just close. We could add some error codes also.
Yeah, some
predefined codes or an enum or so. So
yeah, but for now I think just
as a start.
As a start, just a message or something.
Yeah.
And then we can extend it later on when we need specific codes or something to react on it.
Status, and the status is restart. I had it here. How is it named? REST response. Come on.
Yeah.
No. NGT T, and now we can put our error DTO in there, and just take the message from here, and we build this. And what's wrong with you? This seems to be optional. Okay. And why is this? Okay, then let's go to, so the general Java throwable can have optional. Then let's well, let's override this and say for our exception it's not optional.
Okay.
Yeah. So because we know in our case it's not optional, there will be something. Okay, let's fingers crossed. Let's hope if this works. Start your bets.
Yeah.
Finally something works. Okay. Page must be less than right. Yeah. So something.
So any questions in chat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now you have seen how we do exception mapping. Yeah. So if you want to map another exception, you just add another exception here. You could also make a general exception mapper. So we can do this. So because if something else breaks, some exception will be thrown and you will not get this error DTO. But now you as the client, you always want this. So we can say this is an internal server error. And this throwable we now take and we say unknown
error or something like that.
Error if there's no text, no message. But with this we make sure that the date. Yeah, Jonas wants the date. Okay. Let's check what happens when. So it tries to use the most specific class, the most specific mapper. But if we remove the other mapper,
will fall back to the basic one.
Then falls back to this one. So now you see we have the 500.
Yep.
And we also have the message, and you always will get this error DTO. So you can be sure whenever you want to parse an error, this will be the format.
Okay.
And yeah, if we need something more here, we can add it there. Or some statuses. Okay. Jonas wants to have a nice format.
But I'm not sure if it's exactly that one. I know it with a set in it.
I think this at the end the set, or you can have the plus something.
Oh, okay.
At JSON.
Most likely you just have to use date as type. Oh.
You could use another date format there, but then I would have to convert it. And I don't want that. I just want to change the format for the API. So JSON date format. Go away.
Yeah, serialize ISO.
JSON format here. String, we can specify the pattern here. What I hoped there would be date serializer. Maybe we can find a predefined date form. Simple. Jackson standard date. Yeah, if I use date, but I don't want to use date because we have a local date, and internally I want to use the correct data types. The only thing, so I could just write this here, but I would like to get this from somewhere predefined and not have to type it myself.
And normally there are some predefined strings or
Yeah.
formats.
Pattern. Let's go. Pattern. Date format.
It would be something like full date or.
Yes. Java ISO.
But there was the option with full, maybe.
Datetime format. Java. Yeah.
ISO local time. Basically, we want ISO offset date
This here.
or
Oops. Sorry.
no, with the
Yeah,
set
offset
it
date
would
times
be
are offset date times.
ISO instant.
Or local date. Yeah, I think instant is.
Yeah, that's the one with the set.
Yeah. So this was the date. What was it? Datetime formatter. Datetime formatter.
Instant.
It's instant now. Can we get the pattern? Why don't you give me the pattern? Of pattern.
But isn't that a pattern?
No, it's a whole datetime formatter.
Okay.
That you can use to format it. Format to format. Pattern. Parse. To forward returns this forward as to string. Oh, come on. What? Unfortunately. I don't get it. Why they don't provide this?
But isn't that the string representation?
This here?
Value? No, that ISO instant thing. Isn't that a constant or is it a? It's a formatter.
Yeah, that's the whole formatter. Do you have string number? This is a lame episode. ISO. Yeah. Then this is ISO something.
Jonas writes in the chat and all because my great topic suggestions.
Yeah, all because of your great topic suggestions.
It's your fault.
You are let's make a constant for this. But test it
So
first.
now we have to use it next time.
Okay, this was the movie list item. Then let's get the movie list. No, maybe not a release date, unsupported field, hour of day. No! Come on! I actually have to convert it to it. All the search for nothing. Where is it? Resource, where do we map it? Where's the arrow?
Jonas wants I want you to convert it to a date.
Oh, no, date is so it's very, very old bad shit. Time 0, 0.
Date
Does this
conversions
do?
and date
Local
formatting
date
is the
time. It's the
always
end game.
not that fun.
Yeah. Come on. Is there no instant? Java local date time to instant. No data of no, not of instant. To instant. Really? To what?
Nope. Yeah, you don't have a local date time thing, or
Don't I? It's a local date. I'm even searching the wrong stuff. Local date now. Add start of day to instant. Instant. Now we will have to instant. Local date. No. Local. At UGC. So now we use an instant here. And just to be sure, I read this in the release notes that it now supports the instant. Go with the newest version. What's wrong here? Okay, it's optional.
so let's see.
Let's see.
Can we do it in this stream?
Yes.
Yeah, perfect.
Yes. Now we just do the same for the detail.
Yeah, party.
And we can move this to package utils.
Day since last date issue -1.
Yes. Date utils. Just put this in here and import it here and enjoy the fruits of our hard work. Of course, this was the one
Without a date.
without a date. Where's the date? Come on. There it is. Release date.
Perfect. Okay. We did it.
I would say, yeah, excellent.
So,
Oh,
any
that's it for
questions in
today.
chat now? I think we deserve our weekend now.
Yeah. That's a wrap up. Yeah.
Yeah. So not that much, not so we don't have added a new endpoint, but we did some bug fixing and some date issue thing. Okay. So when can we have the additional movie endpoints?
I guess next stream.
Yeah, maybe next stream.
Hopefully. If you don't find other stuff. You
Yeah.
need it for the next iOS stream. Yeah, then maybe no,
Yeah,
we cannot do it off stream.
we can mock or fake data for the next stream or something like that.
Yeah.
When we just want to do UI, we don't need the data.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, that's it for today, I think. If you enjoy what you've seen the last 70 minutes, then you can check YouTube. There we just uploaded the next episode. I think it's number 4. Today is number 6, so not the last one, but yeah.
The one before.
But if you want to see what we did there, feel free to follow us on YouTube and things that I get there. And I think that's enough marketing for now. And yeah, if there are no more questions, then we would wrap it up now. And yeah.
See you next time.
Yep. See you in 2 weeks with the backend stream. Next week, probably only an iOS stream. Yeah. So have a good weekend and see you next week. Bye-bye.
Have a nice weekend. Bye, guys.